Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Well, let's start out by talking about that first reveal. We finally got some Andor footage.
Yeah, not grainy, blurry, taken with a cell phone from D23 footage.
Deliberately given to us.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of teasers in there, and it took a while to get to the Andor portion. We got a little extra, a couple of snippets of Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
We got some Daredevil. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a few different things in there.
Ironheart, yeah. It was the look ahead for Disney.
For 2025, yeah.
/ the rest of 2024.
Yeah, I suppose, but Skeleton Crew. Yeah, for the next year or so.
Mm-hmm. That look ahead got me excited. Not even just for Andor, but Daredevil obviously got me excited too.
Sure, but it's Andor.
But it's Andor. It was Andor.
It feels goofy to get excited about something that was 10 to 15 seconds long, but
oh my gosh, they were so short.
But it looked really good.
Got to see those stormtroopers.
Yeah, I think we saw a little taste of Yavin 4 in there.
Oh yeah. You see Andor's walking, and if you look, onto the left, there's the temples. Yeah. I was like, ooh, well, they did tell us this was going to go right up to Rogue One, and we know that they were already based there at Rogue One.
Yeah, so we're going to see his transformation into that guy we see in Rogue One.
Because
who's
you're
all
thinking
for the
like
cause.
a thief. No, I'm thinking like a soldier. Think like a leader.
Luthen's in mid-season form with that one.
He's always in form.
I know.
I am curious how they're going to move him along because, he was a thief at the beginning of Andor, the first season.
Yeah, very selfish for me.
And now he thinks he's a soldier, and he needs to be a leader. That's what Luthen wants for him. We know that when we see him in Andor, he's a different person because he's not so much a huge leader. He is, by the end of that, he kind of graduates into a leader.
Kinda, yeah.
Because he leads those people who've all done these dirty jobs that, those shades of gray that you do for the good reasons.
Yeah.
So I was curious to see how they're going to lean into that as well.
Well, we do know he moves up the ranks of the rebellion. I believe he's a captain in the rebellion, if I'm remembering right. So.
One thing I really, really want to see, there's a planet at the very beginning of the clip. They've shown it a couple times. I believe Andor is shown on that planet as well. The one with the big orb, the white buildings. You see the stormtroopers on it. They don't really give us a clue as to where that is, but the first words you even hear said are, "Is there no one who can help us?" Could this be the Gorman rebellion?
Could be.
The Gorman incident? Now, for you super sleuths out there.
Or the super non-sleuths, because they would know.
They would know.
Well, I'm just trying, for the person who doesn't know, you're going to explain it.
So, if you watched Star Wars Rebels, we know that something happened and Mon Mothma protested quite publicly the Empire.
Yeah, because of
whatever happened with the Gormans was the cause of this. That she decided, that's it, enough is enough, and she spoke out and had to go into hiding.
I believe there was ships that were trying to land, Imperial ships, and the Gormans kind of got on the landing pad and
to stop them.
You can't land.
Yeah,
we know what the Empire did.
They landed on them.
Yeah.
At least that's what is supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. Mm-hmm. And we do hear them mentioned in Season 1 of Andor.
In Season 1, where she's speaking for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really, really hoping that they do tie this all together, that we see.
So, yeah.
Because that just further showcases what Andor does. It showcases the absolute brutality of the Empire. It gives you an empire to be afraid of.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Mon Mothma is in Rebels. That whole, you were just talking about the Gormans, they kind of escort her away from the plot. And just her, as we've talked about before.
Just her.
No daughter and no husband.
No Perrin.
Perrin's golfing that day.
He's at the club.
Yeah,
he's gambling again. Darn Perrin. Gambling again.
Brilliant
Beautiful.
Scene, though.
Brilliant scene.
Yeah, because his denial was so genuine, because he wasn't really gambling. But anyway.
But it sounds convincing.
Yeah, but it sounds like, what a gambling husband would say. Not that I know from experience.
Yeah, because we know in Rebels, she's ferreted away, and obviously in Rogue One time, she ends up on Yavin.
Yeah, she's on Yavin with everybody else, yeah.
So we could even possibly get a reference or a hint of the Ghost Crew.
We could get a mention of the ones who brought her to Yavin, or
I'm
who
not
are
saying
going
they have to re-show the whole episode of the escape, but a little nod isn't a bad thing.
No, we do have a live-action Hera as well, and technically Ezra and Sabine, but they would be a little too old.
And Zeb.
Yeah, and we do have Zeb too, I suppose. We have the whole Crooks for Kanan, but...
Chopper was in Rogue One.
Briefly.
As was the mention of...
General Syndulla.
So, I really am hoping that we're going to see the Gorman Rebellion.
I kind of think so. right?
I think we need to. We need to see the tipping point that says Mon Mothma's had enough.
Yeah.
And that was it, according to Rebels. Now, from watching Andor, we know that there were a lot of small steps along the way, so it's exciting.
Yeah, we'll be very curious to see how much that ties into Rebels or it doesn't. It'll be very disappointing if it doesn't.
Can't wait to actually get a full trailer someday.
I know. I don't know if I can handle like a minute and a half. That 15 seconds was too much for me to handle.
15 seconds equaled what? Us talking about it for like 5 minutes or so?
I know, yeah.
Because we're geeking out over Andor because Andor is fantastic?
Yeah.
Now let's move on to another piece of news, this one relating to Skeleton Crew. StarWars.com announced that the famous Michael Giacchino, well, he's not working on the project. His son is. Mick Giacchino is the one who has scored Skeleton Crew. Now, his dad, obviously famous, he worked on Rogue One.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the composer for that. He also was like Doctor Strange. He has a plethora of titles under his belt. His son has only one title solo project under his belt. He did work on Zootopia Plus, the Disney Plus show for Zootopia.
Sure, I don't know it, but I believe it exists.
Yeah, he worked on that, and I think his dad might have helped him with that too.
Thanks, Dad.
Mm-hmm. But his solo project was a recently released show, a little show that was on HBO called The Penguin.
I never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
Yeah,
you sure?
Doesn't ring a bell.
It was kind of fantastic.
Kind of was fantastic.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And obviously, if it had a lackluster score, that would have kind of dragged the show down a little bit. I mean, I remember the main theme, and I liked it. I liked the nature of it, the kind of anxiety-ridden, crazed piece, what it was.
The Penguin Shuffle, I call it.
The Penguin Shuffle. This is Mick's first foray into Star Wars, obviously, and he did have a few things to say about it.
I hate Star Wars, and I hope this show is terrible.
Clearly. I wanted to ensure that this was a show where you get to really put yourself in these characters' shoes, because most of us grew up with Star Wars, and our dreams were to be those kids and blast off on some adventure. I'm still pinching myself about it. I am so excited.
I love that he's going from the Penguin, which is not kid-friendly,
right,
to Skeleton Crew, which we're assuming is very, very family-friendly.
They're not gonna penguin anybody?
No spoilers in case you haven't seen it, because you should see it, but people get penguined.
People get penguined.
There's some penguining. Yeah.
He kind of also spoke a little bit about his process, composing his main theme, as well as his love for Star Wars, his dreams of adventure that connected him to the story. He said, "For me, Star Wars was always an escape into this fantastical world where I can imagine myself flying an X-Wing or riding a Tauntaun around. And especially as a kid, it takes you to all these places that we can't go as human beings, but we can be taken there through movies. Initially, my main focus was the kids who are in over their heads and are out in this dangerous galaxy trying to find their way home. That's ultimately the core of this. I would find myself sitting in my studio working, and I would just be giggling, watching the scenes, thinking, wow, this is what I loved as a child."
That's cool.
I like that he's excited.
Well, yeah, he should be, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, don't work on a project if you're not excited about it.
Well, it sounds like it's something that inspired him as a kid. He probably used to watch it with his dad, so there's probably some strong emotional connection to Star Wars and getting to work on it. Hopefully Skeleton Crew can bring that feeling back.
Hopefully it's a good show.
I'm a kid watching Star Wars, and this is great.
Hopefully it's a good show and a great score, because the score is traditionally a big part of Star Wars.
Yes,
there's
the
this
main
guy
theme
called
is
John
important.
Williams, and he's pretty famous. You may have heard of him. He did Star Wars, and it was really good. His score.
Not ringing a bell.
No, I know.
No. Did he have a documentary recently? Maybe that's where
God, we haven't watched that yet. What's wrong with us?
There you go. I didn't forget.
I know you didn't forget. I'm the one who's trying to do 20 things at once always and never gets even one done. It's my life.
That's why I'm the fixer. I come up behind you and finish up 20 different things.
I couldn't survive. You have your lists and your plans and your schedules.
Because if they don't happen on the full list.
I am chaos incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news or that little clip of Andor we got. Whatever the case may be, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.